that the previous one buffered out. I will do some fixing on that later on. I appreciate y'all for understanding, but yeah, we know the digital demon do that because the devil don't want people to know the truth about the deceptions out here. He don't want people to know the truth about their health, and that a lot of what they're experiencing is just excess salt in the body and radio frequency poisoning. He don't want people to know that. So let those notifications go out one more time, and we're going to continue this discussion because it's not a secret. I'm not the only one out here who knows this stuff. No, I'm not the only one. And we're going to continue this discussion. I'm not the only one. No way, Jose. In fact, you can go to electricalpollution.com and you can read about radio frequency sickness. They also call it radio frequency radiation because a lot of times that's what it is. That's what it is. And what's happening if your body's got excess salt on the inside, then excess radio frequency, your body has a hard time adapting, but it tried to cook you from the inside out. I know there's people on TikTok, I've come across their content. They know that when you go out look at all the power lines and the cell towers, all that. It's like you're walking through a freaking microwave out there. Literally. This is why we're combating that radio frequency for healthier living. And I'm going to share with y'all something else. That the eyesight manipulation, yes, welcome back. That eyesight manipulation, God revealed to me what it's all about. Yeah, because if we're not able to see clear enough to self-care, that's right. Because there were some bruises I still had yet to see. And so the devil was fighting like heck to try and manipulate my eyesight. And I know some of y'all going through it too. And he's doing it because he wants you to think there's something wrong with your eyes. That's one. But he also wants you to think, he don't want you to see things as they really are. He don't want you to see, like in my case, I know he didn't want me to see that I still have, there's a little bit of bruising going right there, right? And if my eyesight kept getting manipulated, right, with inconsistent lighting, it would be difficult to see that. So this is another matrix deception about our health, okay? It's part of the spiritual battle. And so if I wasn't able, I was able to finally see it because I've been in the sun, so we've been tanning a little bit. So that does make it a little bit more challenging. But I see it. And it's a lot, oh my gosh, it's a lot smaller than it was a year ago. I can tell you that. But yeah, right there, I see it. And then underneath, I noticed, okay, just a little, but very, very, very light. Now, as far as other places on the body, the majority, oh my gosh, there's a lot of bruises. Like I said yesterday, a lot of bruises that have been gone for a long time. It's just that the devil going to continue to perceive that they're still there when they're not, because of a little bit of discoloration. But I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I've been self-caring. I know. And so, yeah, and you gotta keep that in mind. There's something wrong with. No, there's not. Well, I don't. What do you mean something wrong with your eyes? No. Don't let him trick you into thinking that. Remember, what a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Because remember, the devil is all this, like all of a sudden, it makes no sense. You're doing just fine, right? You're doing just fine. You're going about your day. You're feeling just fine. Everything's just fine. It's relatively normal for you, right? And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, no, that's not from God. That is not normal. Okay. All right, let's say sort full of gunk. Well, if you're talking about gunk, okay, that's part of the detox. The soreness is coming from the strain, which, like we talked about yesterday, is to adjust the lighting. Make sure the lighting in your dwelling is consistent. Seriously. And then, where possible, don't turn on these LED lights if you don't need them. You know what I'm saying? You're in your dwelling, give your eyes a break, because if they're too bright or too low, that will continuously cause eye strain. That is what causes the soreness, because your eyes are muscles. Think about that. Okay, your eyes are also a muscle. So, and then like, I know you saw the ice packing picture on Patreon that I shared with you, and I know that might be a little extreme, but I'm going to tell you something. I have a paper towel up under there, and a world of difference after doing that throughout the day. For at least one day, you'll notice a huge difference, because that soreness from all that straining, okay, it's your eye, okay, your eyes are supposed to dilate naturally from light to dark, and there should be no eye strain. But if your eyes are unable to dilate properly and naturally, you know, when you go from brightness to dimness, it should not take long for your eyes to adjust, as long as they are dilating naturally and normally. It should not take that long for your eyes to adjust. And you shouldn't even have to think about it. It's supposed to happen automatically, because guess what's responsible for that too? Your autonomic nervous system, the ANS, yeah. It's responsible for that function as well. And so when you put strain on the eyes, you're putting strain on the vagus nerve. So there are a lot of things. And then think about beta carotene. That's very good for your eyes. Vitamin A. Okay, sweet potatoes, carrot. Come on now. You know, start getting some nutrition in there. That helps. Spinach, because your eyes are also a muscle, and spinach is muscle food. Remember, I've been sharing with y'all a lot of this stuff lately. You know, that we're coming into realizing that your fruits and veggies that go along with the protein powder and creatine and all of that for muscle health, because it really comes down to that. Muscle health equates to nerve health. Oh, the Matrix ain't gonna tell you that. No, because the devil targets your muscles. He wants to take away your physical independence. And the Matrix wants to do that too, because it wants to get in your pocketbook. It wants you to spend unnecessary money on unnecessary services that you don't need. Right. And think about the promotion of sloth, of laziness. Oh, that's a big one. Because the lazier you are, the more unhealthy you become. Because you got to not be lazy and go, hey, you know what? I got the sweet potato. I'm going to cook it up. I'm going to make me a sweet potato juice. It don't take that long. But you got to have the ambition and the wherewithal and the motivation and the energy. But it don't take that long. Because while that's cooking, you could be working on something else. See, chosen ones are multitaskers. And so we can do that. But the devil don't want you to do that. He don't want you to figure it out. He don't want you to be eating healthier. He wants you to be dependent on all these other people out here, outside, on the external, instead of being dependent on God for everything. Because everything we need is already on the inside of us. That's the Godhead. Now, I'm going to put this disclaimer out there again. I tell y'all often, if you are experiencing something, okay, if you're experiencing something that is a bit more severe, it's not minor or what have you, and it's something that is outside of your level of knowledge of self-care, then by all means, do your research. There are holistic and homeopathic docs out here. There are. So, I know it can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but I would go that route. And I'm not the only one. There's a guy, thank you, Chris shared a YouTube short with me, and there's a guy that got up there and said that, you know, if it's anything major, okay, fine, but he said he's gonna quit. He said he stopped basically going to, talking to his doctor about any general health stuff. He said he stopped because he said every time you turn around, they just want to put you on a bunch of pills, which is true. Because all those pills have chemical and metals, especially aluminum. Okay, a lot of them have aluminum, and aluminum goes to the brain. Okay, and now they're finding that aluminum is the leading cause for this and for that. Go figure. But the underlying real cause for certain age-related issues is demonic possession. Yeah, I said it. A lot of the reasons for aging, their memory seems to be going, oh, well, yeah. Yeah. That's because they're demonically possessed. And they never had control of their minds in the first place for most of their life. Because a lot of times we learn that these narcissists that get demonically possessed, early in life. Early. So they never do get control of their brain. They never get control of their own mind at all. So But then I can also tell you that being forgetful is the normal human thing once in a while. Yeah, but not all the time. Not all the time. Because your brain is also a muscle. You got to feed it. God's wisdom. That's like a must. But I'm going to tell you, because everything that we experience in life, discomforts of sorts, it's from excess salt and radio frequency poisoning. And so, of course, the devil don't want y'all to know that truth. Because once you know that truth, and you say, okay, so a little bit of congestion. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's just your body detoxing. So when you see the gunk coming out of your eye, that's why I said cool compresses. All right, a little ice pack in there that'll cool it down, because you've got a lot of heat going on up there. Especially if you're staring at LED screen all day long, you got a lot of heat going on there. And so that's going to affect the eyes. And so you're straining, right? And then, lighting consistencies and things like that. And then, baby carrots, especially, okay? Great, you can eat it raw. And then, of course, like I said, you can make yourself straight up carrot juice. Okay, okay, you've got to get used to doing it. Well, there you go. So I'm telling you, the ice packing does work. You do have to get used to doing it, and you do want to do it for, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes at a time. You really don't need more than 20 minutes, but at least 10 to 20. And 15 is like an ideal. If you can do 15 minutes on the eyes with the ice pack, and if you can do that several times a day, awesomeness. You will notice, okay? You will notice. And as far as the gunk, we got the tissue for that, okay? There's tissues for that. And it does feel like it's the brain. See, that's why I was alluding to it in a previous live stream, because it goes right in line with this, how the Matrix is deceiving people about health and lying to them, not just in labels and adding more sodium in something that's supposed to be healthier to eat. Well, when you double or triple the sodium in something that's supposed to be healthier to eat, well, then that renders that so-called healthier item not so healthy anymore, because that's too much salt. So be not deceived. God is not mocked. And so that's why we talk about the stress on the brain via the eye strain, because that leads to stress on the vagus nerve, which is what the devil's really trying to do, because put stress on the vagus nerve, and then things sound louder than they really are. Put strain on the eyes, so you're not really able to see things as clear as you need to see them, and all kinds of things. And causes that muscle tension, could keep the muscles tense here, And that's a trickle-down effect to keep the muscles tense everywhere else. Now, I will point out there is a difference between muscle tension and muscle strengthening. Okay? Muscle strengthening like this, that's endurance, locus of control. That's different. Muscle tension is, well, if you're tense, you ain't going to do that. Okay? If you're all tensed up, it's going to be very difficult, all right, to do stuff like that. So think about the tension the stress on the brain. The stress on the brain, okay, from thoughts for one, but stress on the brain with all the chemicals that are in the air, the excess salt, radio frequency poison, it really does. It puts a lot of stress on the brain, which we're in a spiritual battle for the mind, right? That's not a coincidence. So put a lot of stress on the brain because the brain is a muscle and it is responsible for a plethora of cognitive functions, right? But so is your autonomic nervous system. And so your vagus nerve is right in the center of all of this. So naturally, yeah, that. And then the next thing that the devil's after, your thyroid. Because your thyroid with your ANS, they work together like your ANS and your amygdala. They work together communication-wise. Your ANS and your amygdala, as long as they're communicating properly, then the threat will be properly interpreted as a threat or not a threat. But if that communication gets disrupted, then your amygdala pretty much, and your ANS is going to perceive everything as a threat because there's no filter, because your amygdala is the threat interpreter. So now you bring in your brain, okay, because that's where the amygdala, right, is part of that structure. And then you have your vagus nerve in the center of it all. And then your thyroid, right there with the vagus nerve. And the thyroid, when you put ice on the thyroid, it regulates your nervous system. Why do you think that is? Okay, Dr. Mary Beth on TikTok. I got that from her. So give credit where credit is due. But I already knew that putting ice pack there definitely calmed down the nerve. But having a all-natural doctor confirm it was really nice. When I came across Dr. Mary Beth, she said, ice pack right here regulates your whole nervous system. But see, the Matrix don't want you to know that. How simple that is. Self-care right there. And so they lie to you about a lot of things. But yeah, it's like I said, you're stressing out the brain with all of that. And puts a bunch of strain on the eye and stresses out the vagus nerve, which is the motherboard of your autonomic nervous system, which is the target for traumatization. It was like, I've said this before, and I was like, y'all, when we become a trauma specialist, okay, yours truly did that. And, called by God first and foremost, but I got my training. I received my trauma training through the Arizona Trauma Institute. That's why I learned about the ANF, but it was after the Jezebel case study launched a physical assault that I started to learn, now I'm aware of my ANF where I was not before. I knew of it, but I wasn't aware of it yet and how it responds to things. Now, however, yeah, so my ANS cannot and will not be re-traumatized again because we will not allow it to happen. Because we're too aware. Get that heightened awareness. And then, of course, I'm ordained a prophet, Jeremiah 1:5. So as a minister, for those who don't know, I am a master consultant coach, trauma specialist, minister, and author. I'm helping survivors of trauma overcome trauma And then also those who are interested to overcome trauma and get closer to God, that spiritual growth, but at the same time, to live healthier, live a healthier life, taking better care of the temple for the Holy Spirit through education and awareness about how this radio frequency is being used all around us on a regular basis to target not just the ANF, but our overall health. And that includes putting stress on the brain, which trickles on down to stress on the eyes, which stresses out the vagus nerve. And once you're aware of that and you know what is causing that, and I'm going to tell y'all, one of the number one causes of eye strain is the lighting is too bright or too soft. That causes major strain on the eyes. You wouldn't think about it, but pay attention to your surroundings. If you go someplace, perfect example, I noticed it this morning when I went to the grocery store. And I said, okay. And I recognized, oh, not only do they have it like freaking 20 some degrees colder in there than it is outside, we know there's a lot of nervous system manipulation with that too. Because if you walk in somewhere, it's real cold, 20 degrees cooler, it kind of like shocks your ANS when you walk in the store. But if your ANS is numbed, you won't even feel it. You will not feel the extreme of it. Oh, yours truly can. I walked in, I was like, ooh, okie dokie then. But, glory be to God, He designed our ANS to adapt quickly. But it has to not be numbed. There's the key right there. If your autonomic nervous system is numbed, it will not be able to adapt. But you won't know that. You'll feel cool and you'll be like, oh, you think that feels good because it's hot outside, but it's really not that hot outside. But when your body's internal temperature is higher than it should be, you're going to be tricked into thinking that it's hotter than it really is. So that's another matrix deception about health. And so you won't be able to feel the extreme cold when you walk into the store, because it wants to further numb your ANF. So there's the talk for you all to ponder about your overall nervous system health with your ANF and your brain, the vagus nerve. You really just want to find consistency where you can. That's how you combat radio frequency for healthier living. Consistency in your lighting. Consistency in your eating habits. Consistency in your exercise routines and things like that. Don't be too predictable though. Okay? Don't become too predictable. The devil loves that predictability. So don't become too predictable. And just be consistent in as much as you possibly can, and you will see a huge difference, and you will feel a huge difference. You'll get more awareness, okay, about how your ANS is responding to certain things. And yes, predictability is a comfort zone. Absolutely. That's what the devil wants people to be in. And so, well, that's what I was going to say. That's what the devil wants you to go to the eye doctor, because he wants to put you on some unnecessary pills that you don't need, when all you need to do is just reduce the lighting on the screen, try to reduce your amount of time looking at the screens or the light. You need to, that's it. Just get some consistency in the lighting, turn some lights off, give your eyes a rest. Ice pack, rest those eyes. And I'm going to tell you, when you do that, the best tip I have is, if you can lay and stretch out to do that, you'll take a lot of stress off of your entire body while doing that, and you will feel the nerve jumping and relaxing. I'm telling you, okay? It's the stress up here stresses out the vagus nerve, and then, like I said on Patreon, and I'll bring it here, you stress out that vagus nerve, you stress out the entire body. And a lot of people don't even realize that their body is being, they're like, well, I don't feel stressed. Yeah, you might not, but your ANS is. I guarantee it. If you are exposed to more radio frequency than your body can adapt to and you don't know it, you may think you're not stressed out, but your autonomic nervous system is. Oh, yeah. I guarantee it. And then ice water, y'all. Ice water. Okay? I mean, it really is. And that's the thing. The causes of your eye, it is. It's the devil attacking your eyesight. He's been manipulating mine too, trying to. So you're not alone. For those of us who are catching on to it, and I'm telling you, it's the inconsistencies in the lighting, along with a bunch of other things too. But you got to remember how the devil operates too. He's a predator. Just like narcissists are predators. So if they see something they perceive as a physical vulnerability, then they're going to attack that. Or they're going to try to with some kind of radio frequency, and then light inconsistency to try and manipulate your eyesight. And like I tell y'all often, for those who have not heard this yet, and those who need a reminder, once you become aware of this kind of stuff, you got to remember going forward, because it doesn't matter. Like, going forward, wherever it is you go, because I noticed the inconsistencies in the lighting, the highs and the lows inside that grocery store this morning. I felt it. I went, wait a minute. Oh. Because that kind of inconsistency causes a little bit of eye strain. And that eye strain leads to muscle tension, which starts to bring about less oxygen to the brain. Less oxygen to the brain takes away your ability to make informed and proper decisions, and make it more challenging to resist the devil's temptation while shopping at the store. Want you to buy other stuff than what you know you went in there for. If you got a list, you better go by that list. Now, God might have us get a couple of things that are on the list, and that's okay too, but not on impulse and not outside of the healthier living, okay, meal prep. So keep that in mind. And so, yeah, and they do, a lot of them, the ones, okay, yeah, the doctors who are on the evil side, because not all docs are, but the ones who are, yes, they get kickbacks. Absolutely, they get kickbacks on that stuff. On how many, on how many prescriptions they write. Absolutely. And so, and muscle workout help. That's exactly right. So if you're, after you're done, here's the thing. Okay, give it a try. When you get done ice packing, okay, and let everything get back to room temp, okay, shouldn't take any more than 5-10 minutes. Let everything get back to room temp, and then do a few endurance training moves. Nothing. Do low impact. Do some low impact endurance training moves, and you'll see huge difference. And you'll know, because you're exactly right about that. When you start to do, it does. It promotes that circulation. So don't forget that. And yes, if your brain and eyes are not in sync and they're being stressed out, that's correct. It can affect your decision making. And so as far as the salt per in the tin of tuna, so 125 grams of, well, okay, 125 grams is a lot, but if it should be 125 milligrams. If it's 125 to 200 milligrams of salt inside one tin of tuna, that's not too bad. If you cook it, about 50% of that will cook out. And then as far as just attacking, if you don't get enough sleep, well, I need to tell you something else too. That's something else we got to purge the subconscious mind of. Because the Matrix conditioned people to believe that you should get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night in order to feel better, in order to this, in order for that. Let me tell you something. Purge that from your subconscious. We learn not to allow, because yours truly can do just fine on 5 hours. Absolutely. And I don't feel drained or anything like that. As long as the body got the rest that it needs, you're good to go. So unlearn that lie. Unlearn that lie. We don't have to have 7 to 8 hours every single night. No. We have to unlearn. It's all about the way we were thinking. That's what we were conditioned to believe. And so when you believe that, then you're going to feel drained if you're, oh man, I didn't get 7 hours. And so now all you're doing is thinking about the fact that you didn't get 7 hours of sleep and you got all this work that you want to get done. But man, you just can't muster up the energy because now you're too busy thinking about the fact that you only got 5 hours of sleep. Don't dwell on that. I don't even, y'all, I don't even count how much sleep I get. I don't. If I'm up until midnight getting work done, and then I get up at 7, okay, that's fine. That's 7 hours, okay, no big deal. But I don't think about it. I don't think about it. If I'm up till 2 a.m. getting work done, and then still get up at 7, I don't think about it. I'm up. All right, yeah, we rested. Let's get the day going. Or I'm up at 7:30, or I'm up at 8. So God has us sleep in a little bit. No big deal. So there you go. Keep that in mind. Purge that from your subconscious, okay? Yeah, no. Your body will, as long as your body gets the rest that it needs, you're going to be good to go. And then learn to pace yourself, okay? Don't let that burst of energy that you get, all right, chosen ones, I know. I know you. Okay? You get that burst of energy, you're like, oh man, all right, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Don't do that. Pace yourself. Because you ain't got to rush through it. God will guide your step and you'll get surprises along the way. Because you'll get everything done because there's enough time in the day. Remember, God says we are redeeming the time because the days are evil. Go with the God flow. That's all you got to do. And so, okay, and so now asking about, yeah. Okay, the modular homes that Amazon is selling, I have seen some. I'm sticking with the plan. Those of you on the Patreon channel know what it is. We're not going to talk about that here. Okay? And do I need to catch up during the day on sleep? No. No. Regardless of how much sleep I get, as long as my body rests. That's what I'm saying. I don't think about it. I don't sit there and look at the clock and I don't think about that on a regular, I just don't. Because I don't feel there's any reason to. I'll get up, I'll get going, we'll get done what we can get done, and that's that. I don't tell myself negative things about myself. I don't say, oh man, I used to. That's why I can tell y'all we got to knock it off. That's that old way of thinking, that the Matrix wanted to condition us to think that we had to have all this in order to be healthy. No. We good. And I have no idea. But that's that, okay, y'all? And listen, again, hotel room, I have no control over outside noises. And sometimes we've been getting a lot of rain and thunderstorms here lately, too. There you go. You remember being up at 4 a.m. as a kid, and you didn't think anything of it. Okay, so welcome back. Welcome back to that. It probably is. It does sound like rain, and it could be a car running or something like that. But just keep it in mind going forward, y'all. Seriously, okay? That don't be deceived by the lies being told about your health, okay? So it's going to take a little while, but you got to unlearn that. So stop watching the clock. Okay? Stop watching the clock, how much sleep you get. And stop telling yourself that if you do in the beginning and you find yourself wanting to nap during the day here and there, then do so. Okay? It's like when you were a kid. And, remember we had to take naps during the day. And then we got to a certain age where we didn't want to do that, didn't need to anymore. Okay, well, you know what? Welcome that back. So if you remember getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning as a kid and you didn't think nothing of it, well, that's what you need to get back now. That's what we got to get back to. And that's where yours truly is at. Because I can get up and I just don't think about it. I don't think about how much. Because if I didn't get enough, there'll be some time in the day if I need to get a nap. Which is rare. If ever. But we rest. Now, if we feel the need to kick up our feet and rest, especially while ice packing, and then we'll get some rest that way. But that's that. Okay? So I want y'all to keep on keeping on and stay tuned. Alright? Stay tuned. And when you hit that subscribe, you are joining a growing community of spiritual warriors for Christ at Consulting for Heightened Awareness, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequencies for healthier living. And we learn to stop falling for the lies of the Matrix. Read those labels. Pay attention. If it said that it's a healthier version, and then go get you the regular version and do a comparison. How much sodium is in each one? Because if there's more sodium in the carb balance packet than the regular packet, and there's only 2 grams less in the carb balance than come on now, 2 grams? I think we can burn that off on a speed walk. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father. And you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.